Greetings, my dear viewers. Today is the 20th of August, and today's edition: Tesla and Netflix earnings reports. Why Tesla stock is falling despite strong results. Meme stocks are back on the radar of private investors. Bank of America. Investors poured $45 billion into stocks in June. Major cryptocurrency funds raised $3.60 billion. Bitcoin's correlation with the S&P 500 index fell to a 3-year low. The first ETF with 100% stock loss protection launched. Why Apple is aiming for India. 3. Cryptocurrencies that could grow 1000x according to ChatGPT. Experts predict BTC to rise to $100,000, but WSM could bring more gains. And so, let's get started. Tesla and Netflix earnings reports. 1. Tesla margins fell. Netflix revenue disappointed. Shares of Tesla and Netflix fell in the pre-market as investors took in mixed second quarter results from the electric car maker and streaming giant. As for Tesla, investors' attention was focused on the company's recent price cuts in order to increase production and combat increasing competition in the electric car market. This decision allowed the company's 3-month revenue to hit a record high of $24.93 billion. However, the decision also impacted gross profit margin from automotive operations, excluding the impact of regulatory credits, which fell to 18.2% from 18.8% in the first quarter and from 26.2% last year. While the decline was not as large as many analysts had expected, Tesla shares still fell after CEO Elon Musk later suggested that another price cut could come this year. Meanwhile, Netflix's measures to crack down on password sharing among users appear to be paying off. The company gained 5.9 million new subscribers in the quarter, well above Wall Street's projections. The company also told analysts that account cancellations were low. However, that trend was overshadowed by softer-than-expected revenue of $8.2 billion. Netflix's third-quarter forecast of $8.5 billion also fell short of projections. As a result, Netflix shares fell. Why is Tesla stock falling despite strong results? To explain the drop in Tesla's stock price despite better-than-expected results, it's worth noting that during a conference call with the company's earnings report, Elon Musk was cautious about the company's targets, saying the following: "We're still on track to deliver 1.8 million vehicles this year, but expect third-quarter production to be slightly lower as we will have summer shutdowns to modernize many plants." Declining margins have also caused concern. In a shareholder document, Tesla explained that the margin decline in the second quarter was due to lower average selling price due to the mix and price of vehicles sold, as well as costs to ramp up production of its proprietary battery cells, known as 4,680 cells, and other factors. Asked whether investors can expect Tesla's gross margins to stabilize or grow after price cuts and plant upgrades in the near term, Musk seemed to dodge the question, saying that short-term changes in gross margins and profitability are really insignificant compared to the long-term picture, and that autonomy will make all those numbers look ridiculous. The lack of a clear indication of when fully autonomous driving will be achieved was another disappointment from last night's results. In addition, Musk said that Tesla will spend more than $1 billion in the next 12 months on the Dojo supercomputer, which the company is developing for AI machine learning and computer vision training, and the scale of that spending is concerning. It's also worth noting that Musk never gave a clear indication of when Cybertruck will start coming out of the factories, which also disappointed investors. Analysts and models are cautious on Tesla stock. Finally, it's worth noting that Tesla stock has started off at high levels associated with similarly high expectations ahead of the report, with shares hitting a new yearly high of $299.29 in yesterday's pre-report session. It should also be noted that the share price has almost tripled since the beginning of the year. Therefore, it can be assumed that the fall in Tesla's share price on the back of the results published on Wednesday evening is at least partly a consequence of the phenomenon of selling news after buying rumors. It's also worth noting that both analysts and valuation models consider Tesla stock to be overvalued. According to Investing Pro, 35 professional analysts following the company's stock have set an average target price of $226.93, i.e. more than 22% below the closing price on Wednesday night. In addition, Investing Pro's fair value, which summarizes 12 recognized financial models, is $259.47, nearly 11% below the last closing price. 2. Nasdaq futures fall. The Nasdaq futures fell on Thursday as Tesla and Netflix results had a negative impact on the technology sector. As of 5:14 Eastern Time, 9:14 Greenwich Mean Time, the Nasdaq 100 futures had lost 141 points or 0.88%, led by afternoon declines in shares of the two biggest players in the technology sector, which spread to pre-market trading. S&P 500 futures were also down 9 points or 0.2%, while the futures added 31 points or 0.09%. The broad-based Dow index posted its 8th straight session of gains on Wednesday, marking its longest winning streak since 2019. Meanwhile, the benchmark S&P 500 rose 0.24%, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.03%. Johnson & Johnson and American Airlines are having a busy reporting day. A new batch of U.S. corporate reports are scheduled for Thursday, with major brands including Johnson & Johnson and airline carrier American Airlines, insurer Travelers, investment manager Blackstone, tobacco group Philip Morris International, and regional lender Fifth Third Bank are also on the reporting calendar. Earnings have mostly come in above expectations during the latest reporting season, raising hopes that it could be a sign of a possible soft landing for the U.S. economy after a series of sharp interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve. According to FactSet data cited by CNBC, 3/4 of companies that have already reported beat Wall Street forecasts. 4. Apple has tested a competitor to ChatGPT. According to Bloomberg News, Apple is developing a new generative AI program to compete with programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Bard. Employees at the tech giant have already created a framework known as Ajax, the report said, citing informed sources. A chatbot dubbed Apple GPT is also being tested. Apple shares hit a record high on the back of the announcement, while shares of companies such as Microsoft, Nvidia, and Alphabet owned Google fell. California-based Apple, which despite the surge in popularity of the technology this year, has remained relatively silent on AI issues, failing to respond to Reuters' request for comment. 5. TSMC pessimistic on hopes for AI-driven chip demand growth. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., also known as TSMC, reported second quarter earnings that beat forecasts, but the world's largest contract chipmaker poured a gush of cold water on expectations that a surge in interest in AI would cause a surge in demand for chips. TSMC's net profit for the 3 months through June 30 fell more than 1/5 to 181.80 billion new Taiwan dollars, though that was still above the expectations of analysts surveyed by Refinitiv. However, during a webcast on the company's results, its CEO Kage Wei noted that the rush to adopt AI may be short-lived and unstable. He noted that while we have seen recent growth in AI-related demand, it is not enough to offset the overall cyclicality of our business. TSMC subsequently lowered its full-year revenue guidance, saying it expects a 10% decline in 2023, compared with its previous forecast that suggested a single-digit drop. TSMC's U.S.-listed shares declined in Thursday's pre-market. The move contrasted with bullish comments made earlier this year by one of TSMC's biggest customers, Nvidia. NVIDIA had previously forecast demand for semiconductors to surge later this year, citing the need for computing components to run AI programs. Meme stocks are back on the radar of private investors. After an apparent downturn in meme stocks last year, investors seem to be interested in them again this year, hunting for lesser-known names in search of profits, raising a red flag for the S&P 500 index. Bloomberg writes in a situation where a number of the most heavily shorted stocks in the market are going up, as they are now. And at the same time, the popularity of safe havens consumer staple stocks, for example, is waning. Investors should be prepared for a sell-off in the broader market. In particular, you can see how the sole active Roundhill Meme Stock Index, which includes companies such as Rivian Automotive Incorporated and Riot Platforms Incorporated, is up more than 10% over the past 3 sessions, while the SPDR Consumer Staples Select Sector Fund is down 1.3%, with a spread of 10 percentage points over the past 18 months. When the market sees a surge in underperforming stocks on this scale, especially against a defensive group of stocks, such as consumer staples, it often indicates a ghost chase. According to analysts, the last time a meme stock index outperformed major consumer stocks in double-digit growth in 3 days, the S&P 500 fell 4.5% over the next 20 days. And if this trend continues, investors would be better off taking advantage of modest gains in stocks ahead of the release of the U.S. Consumer Price Index for June, which will clear things up. Bank of America. Investors invested $45 billion in stocks in June. Investors invested $45 billion in the stock market in June, the largest inflows in a year amid dissipating fears of recession, according to Bank of America estimates, writes Business Insider. Meanwhile, inflation in the U.S. has started to decline, giving investors more optimism. According to CPI data for June, inflation fell to 3%, which helped drive $12 billion into equities in 1 week this month alone, the highest volume in a month since March 2022. Over the past 6 months, however, investors have piled into bonds amid worries over a potential recession that never materialized. Bank of America strategists see the S&P 500 up 9% since the end of April, when $45 billion of investment came into the market, which flowed into equity funds/ETFs. Now that inflation has moved closer to the Fed's long-term price target of 2%, this could guarantee the likelihood of a soft landing for the economy. The largest cryptocurrency funds raised $3.6 billion. The 10 largest cryptocurrency-focused funds raised $3.61 billion in funding in the first half of 2023, according to a review of the cryptocurrency market for the first 6 months of 2023 from Binance Research, which is available to RIA Novosti. The first half of 2023 saw a decline in overall cryptocurrency transaction activity, accompanied by a drop in venture capital funding. However, cryptocurrency enthusiasts and well-known venture capital firms expressed optimism. They cited ongoing research and development in the field, believing that the price innovation cycle will continue, creating opportunities for Web3 technology. The 10 largest funds raised $3.61 billion in funding in the first half of 2023, the survey said. Binance Research notes that in addition to cryptocurrency-focused funds, projects that raised funds to scale and expand their operations also received significant investment. VCs seem to be shifting their focus to infrastructure projects such as mining platforms, blockchain bridges, lending, and hardware development. However, compared to 2022, we have seen a marked decline in average investment volume due to changed market conditions. The company elaborates. With a suite of financial products that includes Binance Research is the research arm of Binance, the world's leading blockchain ecosystem and cryptocurrency infrastructure provider, the largest digital asset trading exchange by volume. Bitcoin's correlation with the S&P 500 index has fallen to a 3-year low. The correlation of Bitcoin's value with the traditional finance market S&P 500 index has hit its lowest in more than 3 years and is only 7% as of the end of the first half of 2023, from Binance Research's cryptocurrency market outlook for the first 6 months of 2023. Bitcoin's correlation with the S&P 500 is currently at its lowest level in over 3 years, supporting the argument that Bitcoin can be used as a diversification tool. The correlation has dropped from about 45% in January to just 7% at the end of June. In 2022, the average was 56%. The survey elaborates. Binance Research notes that previously Bitcoin was often considered a tool for diversification of the investment portfolio, because the dynamics of its value was largely independent of traditional financial markets. That changed last year, however, when Bitcoin's correlation to the S&P 500 reached an all-time high of 75% in May amid rate hikes by central banks around the world. Binance Research, the research arm of Binance, a leading global blockchain ecosystem and cryptocurrency infrastructure provider with a suite of financial products that includes the largest digital asset trading exchange by volume. The first ETF with 100% loss protection for stocks has been launched. Innovator Capital Management launched the first ETF fund with 100% downside protection for stocks on Tuesday, writes Business Insider. The fund trades under the ticker TJUL and will be in the S&P 500 for 2 years. It was created, according to management, to give clients the ability to stay in the market with built-in risk management. The Innovator Equity Defined Protection ETF is the first exchange-traded fund designed to provide 100% downside protection. Innovator Capital Management will cap the SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust's yield growth at 16.62%, excluding commissions, and offer a 100% pre-commission buffer against SPY losses between July 18, 2023 and June 30, 2025. Innovator's annual fee will be 0.79% per ETF. Innovator does not yet give any assurance that the fund will successfully provide full protection, as if the ETF increases in value after launch, clients will not be protected from any increase in share price, and may suffer losses until the ETF returns to its original starting price. Why is Apple aiming for India? iPhone maker Apple is making its next big bet on India, a country that is one step ahead of the US on the list of the world's future largest economies by 2075, and such a bet suggests that Apple believes in India's potential. In the words of Apple CEO Tim Cook back in 2017, "There are a lot of similarities between India and China as it was a few years ago, so I'm very optimistic about India." And now 6 years later, Apple has opened its first 2 stores in India. Let's take a look at the reasons why Apple has such rosy hopes for India. 1. 5% of smartphones sold in India are iPhones, but the rest of the smartphone market is occupied by cheaper Android devices. But that gap is already starting to narrow. Apple's share has grown from 3.4% just a year ago to 5%, and iPhone sales have jumped 50% in that period. India now also accounts for 4% of all iPhone sales, making it Apple's 5th largest customer. 2. Apple doesn't need to dominate the market for the sake of revenue growth. Apple's smartphone market share in China is only 17%, but when you remember that India overtook China to become the world's largest country by population this year, the room for Apple's customer base to grow is huge. 3. India is a young country with a growing middle class and an appetite for fashion innovations. Unlike China with its aging population, in India young people have a strong interest in consumer goods. 50% of Indians are under 25 and 65% are under 35. With the rise of a wealthier middle class, demand for more expensive technological innovations is increasing, and the average price of a smartphone in the country has risen by 18% this year, with premium smartphones now accounting for 11% of all sales. 4. Producing more iPhones will be another plus for Apple. Apple is ramping up production in India in an effort to be less dependent on China. It is now cheaper for the company to manufacture its products in India, especially given the more expensive labor in China. If the company is going to lower its production costs, it should move capacity to a country like India. 3 cryptocurrencies that could grow 1000x according to ChatGPT. Utilizing the diverse capabilities of AI helps the industry to constantly evolve. For example, artificial intelligence can create customized avatars to increase profits or perform thorough market analysis to reduce risk in investing. Which cryptocurrencies on the market are considered the most promising according to ChatGPT? Projects that have great potential in 2023 according to ChatGPT. Wall Street Memes is a large-scale project that combines memes and finance. TSMC, a useful platform through which you can earn money by supporting environmental organizations. Solana, a decentralized network that can compete with Ethereum. Wall Street Memes can grow 1,000 times or more with its 1 million social media community. More than a month ago, the pre-sale of the new Wall Street Memes coin started, which immediately attracted the attention of investors. In the first couple of minutes, the investment in the new WSM token exceeded $100,000. Now this figure has increased to $15.2 million. The favorable asset value of $0.0316 at the current pre-sale stage is also having a positive impact on the pre-sale. Another reason for the token's popularity was the attention of Elon Musk. The famous entrepreneur reposted the record from the WSM account and thus created a stir around the project. It is worth mentioning that more than 1 million people follow the news from the developers in social networks. The team's plan to work with 2 billion issued coins also receives a lot of positive feedback. Its essence is to hold a public sale where 50% of the coins will be realized, charging rewards for token holders, 30%, and withdrawal of funds to cryptocurrency exchanges, 20%. Experts note that such tokenomics will increase the number of asset owners and maximize their profits. Attention should also be paid to the fact that right now, on the website of the project is held airdrop for $50,000. To participate in it, you just need to fill out an application form and get into the top 5 users who will be given the right to get the assets for free. Now $WSM is traded within the 23rd stage of the pre-sale and costs $0.0316. Upon completion of the pre-sale, the cryptocurrency's value will reach $0.0337. Project merits: engaging influencers, Crypto Jamie and Aaron Cryptonoob, to promote the asset. Low coin value: coin owners will have access to early updates, exclusive content, and new airdrops. TSMC has a chance for long-term growth due to its scale according to experts, the growing interest in environmental issues, and the rapid development of the world of digital currencies should have led to the creation of a comprehensive, green project. This is TSMC, through which anyone can plant a tree in Guatemala, save a black jaguar, and receive a cryptocurrency reward. Its pre-sale shows positive results. Since the beginning of the pre-sale, the project has attracted more than $860,000, and the value of the token at the current stage is only $0.0007775. TSMC is distinguished by the scale of the tasks to be solved and a variety of ways to earn money for those who support environmental actions on the project's website. For example, this crypto project is actively working on greening forest areas and protecting endangered animals. Moreover, as mentioned earlier, TSMC offers a real income opportunity for eco-activists. You can increase your income by completing levels in the zero-tolerance game, buying or exchanging NFTs on the marketplace, or purchasing souvenirs of the company. The reward system is a fundamental part of the platform's functionality. The developers are serious about encouraging users and their active involvement in environmental protection. That's why on the official website of the project you can often find an announcement about bonus coins for participation in certain activities. For example, TSMC is now offering up to 125% CHIMPZ tokens to presale participants. At the current stage of the presale, tokens can be bought at $0.0000775. It is worth noting that at the final stage of the presale their value will be $0.00185. The advantages of the project: there is an opportunity to get an NFT passport, which opens up additional opportunities for earning. The opportunity to receive cryptocurrency for contribution to the improvement of the ecological situation. A cartoon is being worked on, which will attract more potential investors. Rate forecast: Solana. ChatGPT believes that the coin will grow in May of this year. Representatives of the organization Solana Foundation, which is working on the development of the eponymous blockchain, announced the introduction of artificial intelligence technology into it. According to the company's management, this was achieved through a special plugin ChatGPT, which was developed by Solana Labs. Before we move on to the SOL forecast for the near future, let's understand what the peculiarity of this blockchain is. The fact is that throughout its existence, the network has attracted developers due to cheap and fast transactions. This allowed it to remain one of the most popular blockchains and even compete with Ethereum. But after the FTX exchange collapsed, the demand for SOL began to gradually decline. However, according to CoinMarketCap, the coin was able to regain its position. Solana is now in 9th place in the ranking of promising cryptocurrencies, and its price continues to grow. ChatGPT believes that the integration of AI, which was mentioned earlier, will have a positive impact on the dynamics of the asset. Thus, we can expect to overcome the threshold of $30 per coin in the near future. At the same time, Binance analysts are confident that in 7 years SOL will be able to reach a level of almost $40. Subscribe to the channel, put a bell, and be the first to know about the world news of finance and economy.